Welcome back to the deep dive. Today, we are stepping into what is usually the quietest, but maybe the most critical room in any modern business.
The server closet.
Exactly. And we've got a stack of documents here on the NTI E-MICRO-TRHP-D.
Yeah, that's a mouthful of alphabet soup, isn't it?
It really is.
But the mission here is actually, very simple. It's all about solving that ghost in the machine problem.
Right. That moment when the whole IT team goes home, the lights go out, but all that expensive infrastructure is still running. What happens if the AC fails at 2 in the morning?
Or a pipe bursts. Who knows? Exactly. And usually nobody finds out until the servers are already fried. So you should think of this device not just as hardware, but as a vigilant guardian.
The eyes and ears.
The eyes, ears, and sense of touch for those unmanned spaces.
So let's break down those senses then. I'm looking at the spec sheet for this model, the TRHP, and it comes with integrated sensors right out of the box.
It does. Temperature and humidity right away. And the range is what really signals industrial grade to me. It operates from -4 degrees all the way up to 167 Fahrenheit.
That's huge. That covers everything from, I don't know, a walk-in freezer failing to a literal server fire.
Pretty much.
But it's not just its own sensors, is it? I see it has ports for dry contacts.
Yes, 2 RJ45 sensor ports and then 2 of those dry contact inputs.
Okay, I want to pause on dry contacts for a second because I feel like that term trips people up. In the simplest terms, it's just a binary switch, isn't it? A yes or no state.
That is the perfect way to visualize it. It's not measuring how much water is on the floor, just is there water?
Is the door open or closed?
Is the smoke detector going off? Yeah. It basically turns this little box into a universal translator for all those, dumb analog switches in the room.
And it's precise, too. The notes mention the humidity sensor is accurate to within plus or minus 3%, so it isn't just guessing.
Right. But, gathering data is only half the battle. If a guardian sees a fire but doesn't tell anyone, it's useless. So we need to talk about the brain of this thing, how it communicates.
This was my biggest question, because every system administrator suffers from alert fatigue. If this thing just emails you every single time the temperature fluctuates by a degree,
you're just going to mute it.
You're going to mute it, yeah.
And that's where the NTI firmware is clever. It uses what they call smart alerts. So instead of just a raw feed of data, you can configure logic. You can say, only email me if the door is open and the temperature rises 5 degrees.
That is so valuable. It filters out all the noise.
It does. It supports email, SMS, and even SNMP traps for the big enterprise environments. It makes sure that when it yells, it actually has something important to say.
Now, we have to touch on security. I mean, putting a monitoring device on your network can be risky. We've all heard the stories about casinos getting hacked through a smart fish tank.
It's a valid fear. It is. But NTI seems very aware of that whole IoT stigma. This device supports HTTPS, TLS v1.2, and full AES 256-bit encryption.
So it's built for that.
It's built to sit in sensitive places like data centers without becoming a backdoor for attackers.
Secure and smart. But here's the vulnerability I always look for. Power. This thing is supposed to warn us about disasters. What if the power goes out? Does the watchdog die too?
You've hit on my favorite engineering detail of this unit, the TRHP in the model name. That actually stands for triple redundancy.
Triple. I count the wall plug and what else is there?
So you have dual DC power inputs, that's 2 right there, but it also has built-in power over Ethernet, PoE.
Okay. So it can draw electricity right from the network cable itself.
Precisely. It can be plugged into 3 different power sources at the same time.
Yeah, the failover.
It's seamless. It constantly monitors the voltage from all 3, and it draws from the strongest one. If that source cuts out, it swaps to the next one instantly. No reboot, no blip, it just stays alive.
Wow. And that reliability is backed up by a stat in the documentation that, honestly, it blew my mind. The mean time between failures. The MTBF.
It's staggering, isn't it?
Yeah.
Over 628,000 hours.
I ran the calculator on that before we started. That is over 70 years.
It really highlights the difference between buying a consumer gadget and buying, infrastructure. You bolt this to the rack and you expect it to outlive the servers it's monitoring.
And for a price tag around, what, $340, it feels like an incredibly cheap insurance policy.
It really is, especially when you consider it can also ping up to 4 other IP devices just to make sure they're still online. It's a really comprehensive tool for that price.
It really forces you to think about how fragile our digital backbone actually is.
Right.
I mean, we rely on these unmanned rooms for our banking, our data,
We
everything.
do. And it sort of leaves us with a lingering question. We're building this world that's run by automated systems. We trust them completely. But at the end of the day, who is watching the watchers?
How much trust do we place in a little box to keep the digital lights on when we're not looking? Something to mull over. That's it for this deep dive. Thanks for listening.